Yo, what's up? Ogechi here, aka Oaghaji, and I'm back with another video, and it's time for another review. Now, today's review is going to be on the 10th story arc in the Kinnikuman manga series, created by the manga duo Yudetamago, which consists of Takashi Shimada and Yoshinori Nakai, and that is the Dream Chōjin Tag arc, aka the Dream Chōjin Tag Team arc. You know what I'm saying? This particular story arc picks up right after the Golden Mask arc. Excuse me. I apologize for being tongue-tied right there. But anyways, where Suguru defeats Akuma Shogun and the Six Devil Knights, along with the help of his fellow Chōjin like Brocken Jr., Robin Mask, Wars Man, Mongol Man, you know what I'm saying? And who else? Oh, Geronimo, you know what I'm saying? Just want to make sure I got that. Don't forget that. Terry Man and a couple of others. Now, after they're facing a humiliating defeat against them, Ashura Man and Sunshine come back and decide to get their they get back against the Justice Chōjin by taking their manly friendship and putting it in a box. So that way the Justice Chōjin don't become, friends anymore, basically. No longer homies. Now, look, I know that's bizarre as fuck, but it actually does work within the context of the story, you know what I'm saying? Especially when we talk about the other stuff that goes on with this particular arc, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, after the defeat of Akuma Shogun, a lot of the Chōjin in the committee, decided, you know what? How about we have like a tag team tournament between the different Chōjin, you know what I'm saying? Which is pretty awesome. At first, some were a little hesitant, you know what I'm saying? I think Suguru, if I remember correctly, Suguru was a little hesitant at first. I can't say for sure. But I'm pretty sure I think the Justice Chōjin as a whole were a little skeptical on that. But they most likely changed their minds after their friendship was put in a box by Ashura Man and Sunshine. I can't think that's what really sets it off, I think. Now, don't quote me on that. I could be wrong on this, so correct me in the comments below, y'all, because it's been a minute since I've read that arc. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get back into reading the current story arcs in the Kinnikuman manga, aka Kinnikuman 2011. Anyways, now the Justice Chōjin participated in the tournament, all got their tag team partners. And so Suguru decided to team up with Terryman again, but however, Terryman teams up with Geronimo, you know what I'm saying, and Robin Mask, he teams up with Wars Man, Mongol Man teams up with Buffalo Man, and who else? Canadian Man and Special Man team up, who else am I forgetting? Oh, Brocken Jr. and Wolfman also team up. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool. I think that was it. Suguru comes in disappointed at this. You know what I'm saying? But he meets up with his mentor, Prince Kamehame. You know what I'm saying? Who taught him a lot of stuff he knows about the 58 killing moves and things like that. If I remember, it was just 58. No, it's either 58 or 102. Again, it's been a long time since I read these arcs, especially this arc and the American Tour arc, so bear with me, y'all. Prince Kamehame heard about Suguru's dilemma and decides to become Suguru's tag team partner, but under disguise as Kinnikuman Great by using a black Kinnikuman mask, which is pretty cool in my opinion. And so, yeah, Suguru and his mentor, Prince Kamehame, team up as the Muscle Brothers, with Kamehame as Kinnikuman Great. And so all the Justice Chōjin that are participating are entering the tournament. And then Sunshine and Ashura Man show up and made some mincemeat out of Special Man and Canadian Man because nobody cares about them, right? I mean, I gotta say, man, Canadian Man and Special Man, they got it rough ever since like the 20th Chōjin Olympics arc. You know what I'm saying? And the 21st Chōjin Olympics arc. So they've been done dirty. But there are some spin-offs where those two were showed some love, thankfully. Anyways, Ashura Man, Sunshine take their place. You know what I'm saying, with their tag team. The tournament goes a little smoothly, you know what I'm saying, with all the different tag team partners. But then some special types of Chōjin show up to crash in the tournament. And these type of Chōjin, they're not like the Justice Chōjin or the Akuma Chōjin or Devil Chōjin at all. No, they're the perfect Chōjin. Their approach, is very brutal. You know what I'm saying? They're about perfection. You know what I'm saying? And but they're not like the Devil Chōjin, but they're definitely not like the Justice Chōjin either. You know what I'm saying? And two of these perfect Chōjin that enter the tag team tournament is Screwman and I think Wrecking Ball Man or Kindle Man. Yeah, I think that's his name, Kindle Man. I know there's an English translation of his name, but I can't think of it at the top of my head at the moment. Again, it's been a mess since I've read this arc. Suffice to say, these two, they took out Brocken Jr. and Wolfman, aka Rikishi Man, in the anime adaptation. Which sucks because those two are pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they shown that they're not ones to play. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, we got Mongol Man and Buffalo Man doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? I think, did they fight against those two? Damn, it's been, yeah, yeah, I think so. Anyway, I know for a fact that I almost forgot. Pentagon and Black Hole are also in the tournament, and apparently they're cousins, which is surprising. And they fight against Kinnikuman, the Muscle Brothers, which consist of Kinnikuman Great, aka Prince Kamehame, and Suguru. Suffice to say, there's like a lot of these awesome fights that been going on in the story arc. You know what I'm saying? And it's just there's a lot to unpack with this arc. You know what I'm saying? But suffice to say, there's a lot of great fights. And there's also the fight with the Muscle Brothers. Suguru and Kinnikuman Kamehame, aka Kinnikuman Great, and Sunshine. Especially for the fact that those two beat both Terry Man and Geronimo. You know what I'm saying? And it was a very tough fight. On top of all that, we had some new perfect Chōjin, and they're Neptune Man and Big the Budo. And those two are definitely no joke either. And when they defeat, some Chōjin, they collect their mask, And you come to find out that Neptune Man used to be Coral Man, and he was a rival of Robin Mask. But after he lost, he decides to become a perfect Chōjin to become Neptune Man. I mean, yeah, it's hella crazy. With all these fights going on, Prince Kamehame gets injured after trying to save Suguru with their fight against Ashura Man Sunshine. And we see that we see some a sad backstory with Ashura Man and Sunshine, especially in the case of Ashura Man and his tragic backstory. And his mentor, Samson Teacher, when he saved Ashura Man's life, he fell into a waterfall. You know what I'm saying? It really did mentally and emotionally scarred Ashura man to become this ruthless, devil Chōjin that we know and love today. It's like I'm just scratching to the surface of this art because I don't want to spoil too much of it. It's like there's a lot of dark stuff in there, and a lot of dramatic stuff. They're just very heartwarming. During all this, Terry Man, carries Kinnikuman Great to the hospital, and he finds out that it's Prince Kamehame. And Prince Kamehame decides to have Terry Man takes his place as Kinnikuman Great. And Terry Man was hesitant at first, but he then accepts the mantle, and it was it was some tough training, but he went through it, which is nice. Afterwards, Kinnikuman, Terry Man now disguised as Kinnikuman Great decides to fight alongside with Suguru. It was a little off at first, but especially since Terry Man's taken Prince Kamehameha's place in the mantle, but they were able to keep their partnership tight, with Suguru not knowing that it's Terry Man instead of Prince Kamehame. Especially with, Terry Man using his own moves, which is pretty awesome, which make him just as great of a holder of the Kinnikuman Great mantle as, Prince Kamehame. With all these amazing, brutal fights going on, we get to the final fights, specifically the Muscle Brothers versus the two perfect Chōjin, Neptune Man, and Big the Budo. And as y'all know, Neptune Man was inspired by the real life pro wrestler Hulk Hogan. That fight was very intense, and then along the way, we find out that, Terry Man is the second Kinnikuman Great, and Suguru was a little Estrada first, but he eventually helps out Terry Man, which is pretty awesome. Oh, and before we get into all that, and as you know, Terry Man, Neptune Man and Big the Budo, they mopped the floor with Robin Mask and Wars Man, Mongol Man and Buffalo Man, which we found out that Mongol Man was Ramen Man in disguise, that he decided to take on the Mongol Man, wears the Mongol Man mask after he was able to recover from his injury. And he has to wear it in order to, become in order to fight as a Chōjin. So, again, I'm skimming through it because there's a lot more details of the plot of the art, but this video is already long already. Suffice to say, despite all the hurdles throughout that final fight, Kinnikuman and Terry Man became the machine guns again, and beat Neptune Man and Big the Budo, who was revealed to be the Neptune King, who's one of the rules of the perfect Chōjin, which is awesome. And they unleashed a powerful muscle dunking, which consists of the Kinniku Buster and the Kinniku Driver, which is the same, and they call it the muscle dunking, which is the same move that Suguru and Prince Kamehame did earlier in the arc. And both Terry Man and Kinnikuman were able to win the Dream Tag Team Tournament, the Dream Chōjin Tag Team Tournament. I mean, overall, man, this is a pretty awesome story arc. Y'all can tell that Yudetamago definitely stepped it up when it comes to the writing and the art, as well as the character development for all the characters, especially in the cases of Suguru and Terry Man. It really shows you how true friendship can be put to the test, even the most, when the situation with that is very dire, thanks to, Ashura Man and Sunshine, and I definitely like this story arc. I'm sorry that I skimmed through some of the stuff, but there's a lot more to it, and I've already spoiled it enough, but yeah, I definitely recommend y'all checking out the Dream Chōjin tag arc, aka the Dream Chōjin tag team arc in this manga. This story arc definitely gets a 5 out of 5 as well. Hopefully y'all enjoy this review despite some brain farts and hiccups here and there, you know what I'm saying? Because especially since it's been a long time since I've read this story arc, you know what I'm saying? And I've messed up a couple of details, and you know what I'm saying? I only give y'all like a little bit of the crumbs of the plot, you know what I'm saying? But once y'all read it, y'all get what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? Despite me messing up some few plot details here and there. Yeah. Let me know what y'all think about the Dream Chōjin tag arc in the comments below, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, if y'all like this video, y'all can hit that like button, share, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to keep y'all notified on the uploads. Y'all can also follow me on my other social media accounts, and stay tuned for more other videos and more other reviews along the way. So with all that said, this is your boy, Ogechi Aghaji, aka Oaghaji, signing out. Peace.